Hello everyone, my name is Neil, and today we'll continue the building of this e-commerce application, the backend. So previously we have in this previous video, so in a previous video we have developed one simple application. It's an e-commerce platform, and I also created a tutorial in Medium. So briefly, we are making a e-commerce application where you can create a product, buy a product, everything. So you can watch this previous video here to understand how the entire application works. Like you can see the live demo here. Yeah, so you can see the video and understand how to design APIs so that you can also make your own e-commerce application. Or generally it is like once you know how to create this kind of application, then you can create any kind of application that you want to build. You can build a social network site like Facebook. You can build a splitwise app or anything that you want. So the thing is, we design the backend, we make the APIs in Java Spring Boot, and then we consume the APIs in some front-end library like Vue.js or React, and then that's how we build the modern web applications. So previously we have built the category. So category, we have built this application. You can find the code here. Also this Medium tutorial. So here you can find, I'm creating a for YouTube, I'm creating it from scratch. So previously I have created how to create a new category and how to list all the categories. Now we'll see how to edit a category. So now let's test our application, see if it is working or not. So but before that, I will just briefly explain how the backend works. So we have this REST APIs, like we have it here. So REST APIs is present in the controller directory. So like we have two APIs here. One is the create and one is the list. So these APIs are present in the REST controller, and it call the service, and service called the JPA repositories, which call the entities, and this JPA repository and the entities, they are the entities or these classes which interact with the database. So the thing is, we cannot call the database or the JPA repository from the REST controller. We can, but that violates the principle of a clean programming. So we have this segregation principle. So every part has their own job. Like the REST controllers, they just interact with the API. So they just call the API and get the input data or the request body and pass it to the service, and service is the one who call the repository to save or to retrieve some data, and the repositories are mapped to the model. And for example, if you see, like we have to create a new category. So this REST controller it has this post mapping create, which you can see here, and it get a request body which is category, and which has like 4 field: ID, name, description, and URL. And once this has this data, the data is passed to the service. The service creates the category, which you can see it just calls the repo. Repo is the JPA repository, and it has a mapping to the category, which is our model. And this is the model. So model you can see here. So it is the one which has a mapping to the database. Like for each model, you can see that we have a entity annotation. So what it does, it tells Spring Boot that this class is an entity, and it has a mapping to the database. So for each table, like for each category, we have a entry in database. Like each category is a row in the category table. So as you can see, we can now, I think it's empty. We can also have get the list of all APIs. So now it will be empty. So let's now create a category. See, we don't need to pass the ID here because we are creating a new category. So it will just save, and we will get a auto incremented ID. So now if we hit the execute button, you'll see that we got a error success that we have a category. And now if we hit the list categories, you will see that we have the list of categories that are present. Awesome, right? So now today we'll go more and try to edit a category, and then we will build the products like that. So let's see. So for creating a category, first we will go to the controller and let's create a post mapping. And we also need to have an ID, like which ID of the category we are updating. So we'll have a path variable, which is category ID, and it will return. So let's for now return the string for simplicity, and let's make it update category. So it will have this path variable, and it will have this category ID, which will be integer category ID, and we'll have also a request body like we have for the create. So you can copy it, or you can just type it, request body category. So let's just try to run and see if we are getting it or not. Return testing, and let's see how it looks like in the Swagger. So let's rerun this application. So now if you refresh the page, we will see that we have one more API for update, and if you try to pass it, let's try it out. So we have this one category ID, and we can try to pass let's find the JSON data to test. So now we can see that we have this because we started so that's the thing, if you start it again, our previous entry will be destroyed. So later we will use MySQL. So for now, let's create one more entry here and execute it, and we see that we have the data here. So now let's try to edit it. So let's try to edit. So later we will see that this will have this edited thing. So for now, let's print something. And if you run this again, we'll find this category ID which you're passing from here. And you can see that we can see that we have category ID 1 is printed here. Okay, so now let's try to edit the category. So we'll call the category service and try to edit. So how we'll do it? So we'll just take the ID and we'll first find which ID the category has. So let's pass the category ID and category. So we'll create this method here. So first let's find the category equal to, we will find from the repo, category repo, get by ID, that might work, and category ID, and let's make it update category. So now what we will do is we will category dot set, we will set category name as the update category, get category name, and category dot set description equal to update category dot set description. Now it will be get description, and category dot set image URL equal be update category dot get image URL. So now, and we will now save it. So category repo dot save category. Okay. So this should work, and you will see that the category will be updated. So let's run this again. So first we will create a new category because the previous data has been gone. So let's create a new category, and we will see that we have this category present in the database now. Okay, so now let's try to edit it. So now we have this watches and best watches, so we'll try to edit it to something else. So let's try to, we can pass the ID here, and let's try to edit YouTube. Let's try to edit the category description here, and let's see if it works. So okay, we got testing, and let's try to fetch it again and see if it works. Yeah, so you can see that now it is now edited. So the editing is working fine, but we now have to make it clean. So first what we will do, let's follow the tutorial. So first we will create a API response helper, so which will return the response to the API. So right now we are just receiving like success or testing, which is doesn't look good. It is not professional. So we'll have this class API response, which will make the code, make the response look nice and clean. So let's add this file in the, so let's make it a common, so it will be used in across all the APIs. So we'll make it a package. It will be common, it will call common, and there we will make a class. It will be API response, and there we'll just, it is just very simple. We'll have this two variable, and we'll create a constructor, and we will just create the setter and getter. Pretty simple, huh? And now let's create one more thing. It's called get timestamp. So let's import it. Okay, and now let's try to return a nice response when you create a new category. So let's try to return, so let's try to return a response body, response entity, API response. So when you create it, so we can create like response entity, and it will return API response. And so when you create a new category, we'll return a nice message that return new response entity, new API response, and it will be true because we have created a new entry. Sorry, it's like I don't remember all the things that's present, so I'll just follow the category, follow my tutorial so that I don't make any mistake. But now we can create a new category, and that's it. And we can also return one message that HTTP status created. So now it will return a nice response to the create. So let's try to run it again. So let's now run it. So now you see that we have this nice response message, success true, message is create a new category. Maybe it will be like, we can make it nice, a new category created, like this. And for also update, now we can also add some validation check, like if the category ID doesn't exist, then we return a false message, and if it's present, then we can return a nice message, like we can return new response entity, new API response, and success will be false, sorry, it will be true, and it will be category has been updated, and it will be HTTP. It will be okay. And if we, let's see what is the problem. And if we don't find it, so now let's return the API response. And if you don't find it, if the ID doesn't exist, so let's also try to return a error message that the ID doesn't exist. So what you can do is you can try to find service actually you can directly auto wire the repo, but let's follow the best practices and see category service dot find by ID, category ID, if we don't find it, then we return a response that the ID doesn't exist. We return false, and category does not exist. You can return not found. Okay, so let's try to create this method. Return category repo, find by ID, category ID is present. So let's try to run this and see if we can get the response. So if you try to find a category, suppose you try to find one category with ID '23. So let's see what happens. So you'll see that this doesn't exist. But we got some error here. So let's see the error. We should find, so it should be if not. So let's try it once again. So yeah, now you can see that category doesn't exist. We got a nice message, and let's try to create one category now, and you will see that we got it true. And let's list it. So we got this one, and let's try to edit it now. One, and we can just pass it here. It will be best watches edited, and let's try to execute it. Yeah, we got a nice message that it has been updated, and if we try to list it again, we'll see that it is updated. Great. So now in this tutorial, in this YouTube video, you now understand how to use Swagger, how to create a simple CRUD application, how to create new categories, how to edit it, how to delete. We'll maybe cover the delete one later. You can also try to do it yourself. And so this is the building block. So, and it is perfect for beginners. And later in the next tutorial, we'll start building the product. So every category can have multiple products, but each product can belong to only one category. So it is something called one-to-many relationship. So we'll cover that part in the next tutorial. But this is the basic block. So once you start working in the future, in a big company also, you will find these things are there. Like you still have the CRUD applications, and you have to create, edit things, list things. It's there. It will be always there. So this is the building block. Once you master this part of this backend, then you can move forward with the more advanced part, like one-to-one relationship, and also you have the transaction, joins, and everything like Elasticsearch. So we'll do it step by step. After the product, we will start building this backend for account, so that you can sign up, sign in, log in, and then we'll cover the front end part, like how to have your wish list, how to have your shopping cart, how to check out, how to do the Stripe integration, those things. So it will be exciting and fun. That's all for today. If you like the video, please put a thumbs up, and please subscribe. And if you have any doubt, please comment. Please post a comment, and I will try to get back to you. Thanks for watching.